Here I have MakeupGeek's Cocoa Bear. Any soft brown will do. Using my MAC 217 brush, any fluffy brush will do. Putting that on the crease as a base and transition color. I've already primed my eyelids with Lorax primer. Any primer will do. And I'm just using the Cocoa Bear and the 217 to give a nice base and using that as a transition color. Sweeping that back and forth, windshield wiper motions, getting a nice soft brown. Still building up that color a little bit, dancing a little bit. You can't hear my music, but that's okay. Then I have MakeupGeek's Poppy, and this is a really nice transition blendable color as well. It's a very coral peachy color, and it works well with the look that I'm building here. So I am using a 217 again. You can use any blending brush, and I'm just going over the Cocoa Bear and sweeping that back and forth and kind of building up that color, setting that up for the base of the lid, so it has something to transition to and blend into. So I'm just blending that out nice and evenly, going back and forth, windshield wiper motions, picking up a little bit of product and just sweeping that back and forth nice and smoothly. Very, very simple. Still dancing. Then I'm taking the Colourpop color Erotic or Animal. I'll link it down below. I am using the Colourpop Pressed Pigment Animal. It is not working well with my brush, and I'm just going to use my fingertip and use that as a makeshift brush. And I'm going over the crease right underneath where I've built up the Cocoa Bear and the Poppy. I'm just sweeping, not really sweeping, but using a light finger motion and just putting Animal. It's a pressed pigment, so it's super pigmented, and I'm just using that not all over the base, but getting a solid base on my eyelid and just kind of moving my finger back and forth, blending that in. Sorry you can't see me as well as I would like. I have my camera a little bit too close, but I will fix that for the next video. And I'm not going completely over my eyelid, but almost covering my entire eyelid. And there you can see kind of the transition that I built there. And I'm just blending that in with my finger. These products work really well with the finger. It's a pressed pigment. I'm not sure about the shadows yet, but the pigments I've found definitely better with the finger. Then I'm just taking my 217 and blending everything out one more time. Blending the pressed pigment in now that I've got some color on my eye. Then I'm taking the Colourpop pressed pigment color, and this is erotic actually, not animal. And that's a definitely a brighter corally pink. And I'm just using my fingertip and putting that primarily in the middle and the rest of the base of my eyelid, not totally covering up the other shade, but just going over the base of the eyelid, just the base, and really setting that color in the middle. And I'm doing the same thing on the other eyelid, simply putting that pressed pigment on my fingertip and smudging that onto the eyelid, all over that base of the eyelid, really making sure that color pops in the middle, and then just using my finger to softly blend that out. And blending it up a little bit into the crease, not completely, just making sure that it's solid and looks pigmented enough. It's giving me the look that I want. So now I'm going to move on to the next step. Now I'm taking the Colourpop pressed pigment, or actually this is the shadow, and I love this. It's a gold shimmery tone. I wasn't sure about the brush, but it does end up working well for this part of this look. And I'm just taking a regular e.l.f. brush. I don't even know what kind it is. And I'm just putting that into the inner corner of my eyelid and giving a little pop of color in the inner corner. And I'm doing that on both, sweeping it a little bit so it's a little blended, but mostly just kind of jabbing that into the inner corner. And there I just use my finger to softly blend that in. Make sure the transition is there and it's blended well enough. I'm going back in with Cocoa Bear, and this time I'm using my MAC tapered blending brush. It is a 286, and I'm just going back over the outer crease and darkening up that brown a little bit. and just blending out all these shades. Mostly just blending, but getting that cocoa bear in that outer corner, in that outer V. Doing the same thing on the other eyelid, using the 286. Any sort of tapered blending blush will work. And I'm just sweeping it lightly into the crease, as you cannot see. I'm learning here. Sweeping that, darkening it up, and creating that soft brown transition shade, bringing it back a little bit because we did use a lot of color with this look. Now I'm taking the Lorac Pro 2 palette, and I'm just taking light brown and using a fluffy brush, just a generic fluffy brush, and sweeping that over my brow. I've already done my brows and used a concealer, so I like to use, if I'm not doing a pop or a highlight on my brow, I'll just use a neutral color and blend that out. Now I'm putting on some Very Sexy, I believe, mascara. The Too Faced one. Is that what it's called? It's the Too Faced mascara. Any mascara will do. Too Sexy? Is that what it's called? I don't know. I have so many mascaras. So I'm just having a great time. That's Beyonce. I woke up like this in the background. Now I'm moving on to my face. I'm using MAC's Pro-Longwear and using that concealer to just go underneath my eyelids and then any other blemishes I might have. I don't always do concealer. I decided to do this as part of a full face routine, and this isn't even my whole full face routine. This is my before work full face routine when I have some time. So I'm just using the concealer there underneath the eyes and just dabbing that in with my finger, blending that out, going over any small blemishes I have, any brown spots I may see, and I just sort of blend that out with my fingertip and blend it in to my skin, dabbing it, not really rubbing as much, but I do like to just kind of dab it as much as I can and kind of just smooth it into my face with my fingertips. Sometimes I'll use a concealer brush, sometimes I'll use a beauty blender, but fingers work just as well. So that's what I'm using. I'm using the Benefit Professional on my nose. Normally what I'll do is I'll actually use it on my nose and then a little bit outside of it where I notice I have more or bigger pores. But I had already put on some concealer, and since I went a little bit backwards, I'm just putting it, wherever kind of. Normally it does go under, but I did go a little bit backwards this morning. It was early. Now I'm putting on my Stila Foundation, and I just put a little bit on the back of my hand, use my beauty blender that's already been dampened, and I just pounce away all over the face, blending everything out, going down the neck. You can't really see that, but I am going down the neck, and I normally work from top to bottom of my face and just pounce all around, making sure to blend everything out. I love the beauty blender. If you don't have a beauty blender, buy a beauty blender. It makes those late mornings when you have no time so much easier. It just, you're done with your makeup in minimal time. And that's with me, who, when I'm running late, still puts on a decent face. And I'm just pouncing, using whatever products on the back of my hand, making sure it all looks even to me. I hope it looks even to you. And that is pretty much my full face. If I decide to set, sometimes I'll use a concealer and I'll actually highlight. Today I didn't highlight particularly. I just set my concealer spots and where I might highlight, and I just use some banana powder. And I'll do that whenever I feel like it. Honestly, it just depends. And I just use banana powder. I set those areas because those are normally my oilier parts, but also it's a nice highlight for me because I have dark skin. So it actually highlights my face a little bit, even if I'm not using concealer. And then I'm just using a black opal foundation stick, and I'm just using that to contour my face. I don't always contour. I regularly don't, but once again, I'm just doing a pretty full face look so that you can see my routine. And so I do a lot more as well. I actually go full into contouring and highlighting all the way, but this is just a basic one. And then I'm just using an e.l.f. contour brush and blending out that foundation stick. It is the only color that works for me as a contour. So I'm lucky that I found it. I've gone through plenty of foundations and concealers and nothing is actually dark enough. So I just blend that out, as you can see, and it's not even a heavy contour. It is really me just blending in a little bit of that foundation stick, and then I use my Real Techniques buffing brush and I blend it out even more. Blend, blend, blend. You don't want to have dark lines on your face at all. So I'm just using my buffing brush to blend everything out, as you can see. And I'm just using a blush brush. It is it's more of a highlight than a blush. I got it in my Ipsy bag. I don't have the color, but I'll link it down below. And I'm just using an angled brush that I actually got in another Ipsy bag as well. And I'm just using that on my cheeks to give it a little bit of a pop of color. I'm not doing too much on the blush, only because the eyes they're colorful and they're pretty bright. So it's a little bit of a highlight, a little bit of a blush. I wasn't sure which Colourpop lip I wanted to use. So I tried Topanga, and you can't see me put it on, but it's a nice corally peach. There it is. There's a swatch of it, and I felt like it would suit this look well. You can't see me put it on. Sorry, once again. I'll do better next time. I will have it on my lips here shortly. I like it. I actually ended up putting on the Lumiere a little bit later, or actually it was a Brink. I put on Brink later when I got to work, only because I wasn't so sure I liked that color as much. And they blended well. I actually put Brink over it, and so it kind of was a mix of both, but I wanted to mute it. I wanted to mute the lip a little bit, so I did use Topanga for this look in the video, and then later on switched it to Brink. But I do love the Lippie Stix Colourpop, so both work. I love them both, and you'll shortly see what it looks like with the look, and you can decide if it's something you would go for. I didn't use a liner, but I did like a more muted lip later on during the day. And that's it. If you have questions, please let me know. Please like, subscribe. I will link all of the products I use in this video in the description box. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.